Welcome to the Lift Journal, a session-by-session record of my progression in foiling from a beginner's perspective, sharing the highs and lows of my experience firsthand. What's up, everybody? It's been a while. So from the last entry to now, I took about a month, and I really wanted to try to work on a lot of stuff, and I can't give you guys a entry every time I go. I feel like you guys would get really bored. Not only that, but I had I just wasn't progressing for a little bit. I was having some issues. I was constantly lifting out of the water. I was just having a hard time paddling into waves at times where I would just get lifted, and luckily I did a little bit of research and just kind of messed around with my setup in general, and it's completely changed my game to the point of where I'm way more confident. And I'll tell you the two things that I did. So everything is Armstrong. Everything that I have, the whole setup, that's what Reel hooked me up with. And so I moved the mast from a 6 to a 5, which takes away some of the lift. I was also having issues where I would be kind of like trying to pump, but then would have a little bump in front of me that I would have to try to connect. And I would never be able to get over that like plateau. So I started messing around with shims, and with Armstrong shims, they give you a 0.5 and a 1 degree shim, a blue and a red. I use the blue, which is a 0.5, and what that does is it just takes the tail and just makes it a little straighter. So technically it gives you more speed. And that completely changed everything for me. Those two just quick little adjustments. It's so crazy, the little adjustments that you can do with foils to really make them work in different conditions. So I've been sticking with that, and since then, you can see the footage. I am getting up more confident. I am pumping down the line, getting speed, and enough speed where I'm hopping over the back of the wave and trying to pump out. It's not pretty to see. And what I do also have to realize is I look at this footage and I say, oh my God, this looks awful. But in reality, I'm sure when I first started surfing, it wasn't good to look at either. And maybe it's not even good to look at now. I don't know. But I think that I have to realize that I'm still a beginner, and I still have to not criticize everything that I'm doing, and I just have to go with the flow. And then down the line, I can criticize style. The pumping is most likely not efficient right now, but I think that also has to go with the little tweaks that you do with your body to make it efficient and to know exactly when to do it. So I am back in North Carolina. My wife's sister had a kid, so we are visiting, and we are staying in the casita. That is in, I think we're in Nag's Head. All the towns around here, I don't know exactly where I am, but I'm not on Hatteras, but I am actually going to Hatteras to say what's up to the guys over at Reel, and maybe coming home with a new wing. I'm in between two, and we will see. I'm gonna do a new front wing and a new tail wing. And the reason why is that I really wanna connect waves, and I feel like I can. The CF 1200 that I'm running, it's a great wing, and it got me up, and it got me kind of going with the basics, and I still have a lot to learn, but I do feel that if I had a little bit of a faster wing, I might be able to connect waves, and that's really what I want to do. I'm really interested in that. So I'm gonna go say what's up to those guys. One other thing that I also wanted to let you guys know, so as I was kind of adjusting with the mast, one day I moved the mast even further back from a 5 to a 4. And with that, super confident takeoffs, able to stay on foil very easily, but the pumping was very, very slow. And that is something that I put on the Instagram, just asking why. And everyone said, what you need to do is you need to find that happy medium, try to figure out where there's good speed, but also ability to pump. The further your mast is up, the quicker it is to pump because of, I guess, weight ratio, less area in front of you. So that's another reason why I am trying to find a smaller front foil or front wing, so that way I can move that up just a little bit more on the mast, or move the mast up a little bit more on the foil board, and be able to pump a little quicker. So I'm gonna go head over there, and I'll see you in a little bit. I was having a hard time making a decision for the different wings. So I had Matt from Reel give me a little clinic and kind of point me in the right direction.
What's up, everybody? Matt Nuzzo hanging out here in the glory hole at Reel. Great place to be. So had Dave Sincox here, got into foiling, did a killer piece on like learning to foil as a lifetime surfer from Jersey. Really good mid-length surfer, and was stoked to try to learn to foil. So came down here, learned to foil, went home, got it set up, and within like a month or so, he's out there pumping, connecting waves, just learning to connect waves, and really kind of got the foil bug, and has been just like freaking out about like, wow, I've been doing this for 30 years, and now like my mind is blown. Like all of a sudden the video game mentality comes in where I can start going out, and a crappy bumpy day turns into an awesome day for foiling. So when we started out, we got him set up with the 1200. So he got the standard CF V2 1200 kit. Comes with the 1200 front and then the 300 tail wing. And so the point of doing that is max stability, max out the learning curve, makes it super easy. So he came in today, was looking to get something, the next upgrade. All right, what's my next thing? I'm going to get 1250 and 232 tail. And so I said, hey, well, let's think about it as a range. We wanted to trade in the 1200 and then go to the 1250. And I said, well, think about your progression as building blocks and taking one step at a time, right? So if you change two things right at once, it'll be a little bit more difficult to actually progress and to learn. So if you got a smaller tail and a more high performance front wing, it's going to feel a lot different than what he was just on, which is, real stable, super easy. So as to anyone else that's out there and progressing, you want to change one foil at a time, right? So I said, hey, 1250 is great, but as soon as I got on the 925, I kind of put my 1250 to bed, and I didn't use it for like a year. I love this foil. This 1250 is super, super fun. But when I went to the 925, the pump and glide of the 925, particularly for small waves, was just, unmatched. Like you just get so much more projection. And then the turning, I'm turning on small waves, the speed was really awesome for surfing. So I kind of just didn't use my 1250 much anymore. And so I was like, hey, Dave, what I recommend for you is going 925 and also get that 232 tail. So for his progression, what he'll do is he'll keep his 1200, use that when it's kind of really bumpy and wonky or just a little more challenging conditions. When the conditions are good, then his next step will put on the 925 just on the front, keeping his 300 tail on there, right? So you're changing one thing at a time. So this is going to give you a lot of stability. So he's been shimming his tail wing, so flattening it out with his 1200. So I'll have him go back to no shims, max stability on the 300 tail, because it's going to give him a little more lift. which just has a much higher stall speed than the 1200. So go back to fully shimmed out, then work his way down through the shims, right? Once he goes to like half a degree, goes up to a degree, maybe even 1.5 degrees. So he's really flattening out that 300. Then he can progress to the 232 tail with no shim. So with this 232, it's got a different foil section. It's faster. It's going to roll and turn better, particularly with these wide wingspan wings. I really like the 232. In my own personal progression, I rode the 232 for quite some time and then went down to the HA tail, right? So the HA tail, you know, just in comparison, this is a 195 compared to a 232. So it is faster. It is downturned as well, which gives you actually, for such a small tail, that downturn gives you a little bit more stability, whereas these turn up winglets give you a little bit more roll. So this is, you know, when you're dropping tail size, like it just gets, they get kind of really squirrely. Whereas this downturn kind of keeps us from being squirrely and has a little bit more locked in feel for a really small tail. This is gonna be looser than the 232, but that will be his progression from there. So quick recap, keep the 1200 because it's still gonna be what you know, works for all conditions. On the 1200, he can go to the 232 now. He's good enough because he's shimming that, and that's going to make this 1200 really sporty. It's still just not going to get that pump and glide that he's looking for to connect waves. Then once he's feeling good, he's had a good session, the water is not as choppy, right? These wide wingspan wings are going to feel really choppy. They're going to feel all that chop and bump. So on a kind of glassier, smoother water day, you try out this, no shims, on the 300 tail. Then once he progresses, you know, as he's improving, he can start shimming that tail, and then eventually he's going to end up here. And at that point, then he can say, hey, you know, I'm using my 1200 or I'm not using it, but you know, maybe replace it, maybe keep it for you know, the bumpier days, because again, these things with that real wide span, it does pick up a lot of the bump and the surface chop, and also through the whitewater. But as you're getting better with this foil too, you're going a lot higher speeds, so you're going to carry through all that type of stuff. So he just was like, hey man, that makes so much sense, gotta just record real quick, so let's go over it at once. So that's the story. If you got more reviews, check us out online, realwatersports.com, or give us a call at shop, 252-987-6000. See you guys on the water.
All right, well, there you go. Thank you, Matt. It was really cool meeting him. I've seen a lot of his reviews on Real Water Sports about all the foiling stuff. So he takes care of all the foil reviews, and then Trip takes care of all the surf reviews. And it was cool to meet him. He was just on a trip with Armstrong, and it looked really rad, but psyched for you guys taking the time. It was a lot of fun, and thank you for all the support. I was in the thought process of leaving with the 1050 HS, and was actually, sorry, I took a little wrong turn. I'm trying to check out Rodanthe, see if there's any ways that I can maybe try to get on this new wing real quick. Anyway, you know, the 925 is a high aspect, and I am so new to all this, but they kind of explained to me, as you saw in what Matt was saying, is giving me more options for different conditions, and new tail, new front wing, and plus all the shimming, the combinations, all of this stuff. There's so many different options, and I totally understand why all of these options are so fun to have. But yeah, I'm gonna check out Rodanthe Pier, see if there's something. I kind of doubt there is. It's really windy, and frankly, I don't know anybody around here really as far as foiling, so I'd be going out by myself. I don't know if that's such a good idea. I'm gonna go take a look though. It seems really windy. Really, really windy. Have to take a look, see what's going on. Although it's not that big, but I still want to do this by myself. especially with a new wing. It's kind of like starting over, but also that's the reason why I kept the CF 1200 was for days that are kind of more inclined with this. But I am just gonna wait till I get back to Jersey. So thank you, North Carolina. As always, it's been a great time. Peace. All right, back in Jersey. And I don't hear a lot of waves. It's cold. It's like 32 degrees. But I put my new wing on. It's crazy. It's so much like wider, but smaller. And I think I found the perfect little spot. My first wave was probably my best one. It was a wave that I was able to pump. So on the CF 1200, I had my mast at 5, and I started this one at a 7 because I figured HA wing, I'm gonna need a little bit more lift because it's a smaller wing, it's less surface area. And I actually ended up adjusting it all the way to an 8.5 by the end of the session. I only caught maybe 6 waves in a 2-hour period. So I really am feeling a lot like a beginner on the 925. I am not picking it up fast, but I also think that today's waves weren't necessarily the best. They were breaking kind of close to the beach. There was we just had like some waves, some real waves. So I feel like the sandbars are kind of funky. And there's not really like a great setup where I happen to foil today. So I'm gonna be looking for something that's breaking out further and then gets deep. And because I think that's where the HA really kind of works, is to keep you on the swell, which I definitely felt. I had my longest pump out today. It was pretty far back in, or back out, as I should say. I got some speed and then just kept pumping. I will tell you that the HA is a little, or the HA 925 is a little tough to kind of get used to. And I'm not reviewing this, but I am saying as a first time on it, it really kind of doesn't allow you to show your flaws. I breached a couple times, and it was actually kind of crazy because I guess the wing is so thin that when I breached, I was able to connect it again. But I definitely felt it. You really need to feel comfortable on it, or else it feels super unstable. But it's really fast, and that's what I was looking for. And I think I just need to keep trying it, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing, is try it in conditions that it calls for, and use the CF 1200 for the other one. That was kind of made for, I guess, not great waves. So I'll use the 925 in better waves that are breaking further out that I can try to connect, and the CF will just be for more just kind of crappy waves. So yeah, I will see you guys soon. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you like this episode, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already.